Let's talk about passkeys. I'm pretty excited about passkeys coming into being. They're not perfect, but they give us another tool to help protect our identities online. So I'll go through over the next few slides, um, sort of these bullets. We'll figure out what passkeys are and how to use them. What are the benefits? Does it give us any protection? Can we use them on different devices? Is anyone using them? And what are the sticking points to using them? And then after the presentation, we'll take a break. We'll go into the lab and I'll show you a little bit of the power of what Passkeys is using to send encrypted data from one point to another. So a passkey is a replacement for a password in some cases. In many cases, it will be in addition to a password and another second factor. But what's happening in the background of a passkey is there's a private key and a public key from the server that you're connecting to, and your password manager or your device has a private key and a public key. And between those two sets of private and public keys, you can connect a login and say, I have this key, and only your passkey in all of the world and all of the galaxy and all the universe can make this connection. So this public key cryptography has been around. It's been around for a while. It's pretty well known. We might lose it someday if quantum computing suddenly takes a great leap. But for the time being, all of our digital security is based on this concept of a public key, private key cryptography that we use. So the when you have a passkey, you don't actually need your password to log in. So if you go to, let's say you have a passkey for your Gmail account, you'll get a little pop up that says, do you want to sign in? You click it and you sign right in right away. So that's the trick to understand how is that more secure than if I were to type in my password and then pick up my phone and type in another number or something like that. So far, in most cases, when you set up, you have to already have a way. You're usually already logged into a website. For example, your Outlook.com. You could already log in with a username and password. So then you go into the administrative section where you can set up a passkey. That makes a new key pair so that you and Outlook.com can authenticate together. And then since it's oftentimes on your phone, you get to use your either your passphrase to unlock your password manager, or on your phone you'll use biometrics, and then it will just authenticate. So in many cases, it pops up, hey, do you want to sign in? You click yes, done. And in some of the worst cases, you pick up your phone, you scan a code, and then you say yes. So why would I bother to add all this extra work? Well, for one, if you have ever seen a website, let's say you were going to go to paypal.com because you wanted to go make a purchase or send some money or something, and you got an email link that took you to PayPal with two L's.com. Now, I don't think that's a real site, but in the bad old days, that used to be a problem. People would misspell it PAI pal.com or PAYPALL.com. It's easy for you to type in your name and password into the wrong site, but a passkey will not authenticate. You cannot sign in with a passkey to the wrong website. You are absolutely protected from the phishing websites where you're at the site that is pretending to be something important. You're not able to log in. Passkeys are automatically unique per website. So it's your phone's job or your computer or your password manager's job to make a unique key set for each website, for each site. That's something that we want to do, but it's difficult to do with passwords. It's kind of a pain. So it's helpful that it's just built into passkeys. the keys that we're using are very, very secure. They're very big. We're not in a place in the world where we have to worry about bad guys cracking into our passkeys. That could change in the future, but for now, we really don't worry about your passkeys. As long as you don't lose the private keys of your passkeys, and that could happen, no one's going to break into them. So then there are also ways that you can like securely synchronize and get your passkeys back, and that varies from device to device, from password manager to password manager. So for example, I like to use Bitwarden. So I'll have Bitwarden on my Safari browser on my desktop, and I'll have Bitwarden in the Helium browser on my laptop. And when I want to log into Gmail and Safari, I'll get a pop up and I'll click on that passkey. And then when I open up Helium on my laptop and I want to go log into my Gmail account, I'll get a pop up and I'll click on the passkey. It's the same
What's
thing.
helium?
Helium is a privacy based Chrome browser, privacy focused Chromium based browser. And that's the one you've seen me use for the past couple of weeks. I get the benefits of having a Chromium browser, which is compatible with a lot of things, but they're very privacy focused, and they took out all the googliness. They took it out of Chromium.
Oh, and so that's a pay for one, I suppose.
No, it's free. It's free and
Really?
open source. Anyone can check the code. It's only on Mac though, so it might not work for you
Oh,
yet.
forget it.
It'll come out. It starts on Mac first, you know. Windows
Hmm.
will get it eventually.
So it's a privacy focus
Privacy
based on
focused web browser
Google.
based on Chromium. Yeah.
Oh, Chromium.
Almost all the web browsers are based on Chromium these days. Edge, Brave, everything but Firefox and Safari. Vivaldi, Opera, they're all based on Chromium. So is Helium. So your passkeys, you can usually get to your passkeys from almost anywhere. I've had a couple places where I had a passkey on my phone and I wasn't able to log in for one technical reason or another. The most recent one, I was trying to log in on a virtual machine, and the virtual machine did not have Bluetooth access, so I had to do something different. But the downside is it's very difficult. Like if you're using your Android device, it's very difficult to get those passkeys into an iPhone unless you're using something like Bitwarden or 1Password. So originally the idea was, well, your phone is set up to log in and just your phone can log in. But people quickly complained and said, no, I don't want to have to create a passkey to log in with my iPad and my phone and my laptop and my desktop. So even though they're more secure, it's better now that we can sort of synchronize them. Who's using passkeys? There have been, I had to go check this. According to the official FIDO2 website, there have been over 1 billion passkeys created. That's believable to me because I myself probably have 100, and that's just
Oh.
me. So everybody supports them. Android, Android's the biggest operating system. Android supports it. Windows supports it, like right in the operating system. Apple, iOS, everything that you're using supports passkeys. So you can use them in lots of places. And many, many vendors are getting passkey adoption like rolled out so that you can just use it. And I mentioned Outlook earlier. Once I had set up a passkey with my old Outlook email, I was able to remove my password entirely. So there's no more password on that account, which dramatically increased its security.
On which one?
And it was an old Hotmail account through
Oh.
Outlook.com that we talked about a couple weeks ago. And when I removed that password, it completely cleared out all the attacks from all over the world.
Hmm.
So I think the big challenges here with passkeys is they are a little more complicated and not quite intuitive. And that's why after the break, we'll do a little technical deep dive. I'm going to bring up the command line for you guys so we could see what encrypting a message looks like and what decrypting a message looks like. Not that anybody here is going to do it this way, but just so that you can see it working. Also, I wanted to keep the recorded part of this presentation a little bit short. So I personally think that we're going to find passkeys more and more becoming the default way to log in, and then we'll have more of the hardware key. If you, some of you might remember, I showed this hardware key or a device like this that I can plug into my computer and push the button. That those will be perhaps even more secure than a passkey and a password manager. And we'll see more and more sites adopting them. We'll see it'll become a little easier to understand what's happening when you click the button and when you want to back them up or when you want to log into another computer. So I think the outlook for passkeys is pretty great. Um, I see you, Polly. 1 second. There was another utility that had come out that had actually perfectly solved our login issues, and they had encountered every possible issue that anybody could have. They spent 6 years developing this, and Passkeys is pretty close to the Squirrel setup, the technology behind SQRL, and so I'm pretty happy with it. I really wanted everyone to be using Squirrel because I love the name, but it didn't happen. Polly, yes.
Um, Professor, so if we remove the passwords from all the account and use only passkey, is that detach our information from all other website?
Well, if the website allows you to remove the password, and so far I'm only aware that Outlook, I think it's the only major site that's allowing you to remove passwords. It doesn't remove your information because your information is still with, in this case, Microsoft still has your information. But what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I have a passkey. A passkey is significantly more secure than the password that I was using. Go ahead and remove my password, and I can only log in with this very secure method. So your account is still connected. You're the only one in the world that has access to your account unless you lose your passkeys. And that does become another issue because if you only have passkey access to a site and you go to recover, you can't recover your password, then you have to somehow have them email you a new link and a new setup, and you may have to, depending on the website, find a way to connect your account. And then of course every time you create a passkey, it's new. It's a new setup. So that's what I mean. The outlook. We'll see more websites doing this in ways that make sense. I've been really impressed with the way that Google has enabled passkeys. I use several Gmail accounts for the colleges and with different clients of mine, and I can open the browser, go to log into a client account. So I can go to one of my nonprofits, log into my account on the client side. One click, I'm logged in. Then I can go to the Gmail that I use just for this college. Boom, one click, and I'm logged in. So, and we'll do some of that also. I'll show you that after our next demo. So, what other questions do you have about passkeys before we get hands on? Anything you want to put on YouTube, or should I stop recording right now? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll stop the
We're
recording
fine.
here. We'll stop the recording here, Richard, and then anyone on YouTube that you want to put your passkey questions in, you put it on YouTube, and I'll get that through email. And then here in the class, I'll hit stop right now.